This episode contains graphic descriptions of crime scenes which may be disturbing to some listeners.
Today we're bringing you the story of two men, both working as truck drivers on the East Coast, both with wives and families. And in the late summer of 1975, they each began what should have been a routine run. Neither would ever return home. More than 50 years later, the same question still haunts investigators and families alike. Who murdered Roger Eastwood and Leon Rascoe?
This is APB Cold Case. Here's your host, former Police Chief Mark Spahn.
Our story begins on a warm evening in August 1975. Nancy Eastwood arrived at her Maryland home to an unexpected surprise. It was her husband of 9.5 years, Roger.
I wasn't expecting him home that day. He was really surprised because I was gone. When I got back home, he was home. He had been there too long, and all he wanted to do was get something quick to eat, take a shower, and go to bed.
Roger was a truck driver, and he had another run ahead of him, so he needed to grab some sleep. He asked Nancy to wake him up.
And I was going to have to get him up at 11 o'clock that night of August the 28th.
Nancy said the truck that Roger drove wasn't kept too far from their house.
He already had the load in his trailer. He was on his way up to northern Jersey, if I'm not mistaken. It was a grocery store. And I think it was Tyson's that he was hauling, but I couldn't really say for sure. And he left the house between 11:30 and, say, 20 minutes to 12, midnight.
At 5:15 the next morning, a lone motorist was traveling west along Beverly-Raconkus Road in West Hampton Township, New Jersey, when a motionless figure suddenly appeared in the headlights. The rattled driver swerved to avoid the body lying in the roadway, and he drove straight to the nearest gas station to call police. When officers arrived on the scene, they quickly determined that the man in the road was dead, appearing to be the victim of a hit and run. He had no ID, but they noticed a tattoo with the name Roger on one arm, and among his possessions, a set of keys with the marking IH. Police began their investigation to identify the victim and to find out exactly what happened to him. At the same time the body was taken for autopsy, New Jersey state troopers located an abandoned International Harvester tractor trailer on Interstate 295 just a couple miles from where their John Doe was found. They took the key with the IH marking that they'd found at the scene to that tractor trailer, and it matched the ignition. And in the cab of the truck, they found papers with the name Roger Eastwood. Detectives reached out to Roger's employer, Poultry Incorporated, who then contacted Roger's brother. Again, here's Nancy Eastwood.
And my brother-in-law, the dispatcher, went up there to identify him. And when they came back, I came on the door. I said, when I came up there, I said, Roger's not home yet, and that's when they told me.
Nancy's world was turned upside down.
And it was a holiday weekend. We had plans for that weekend, Labor Day weekend, and he just never made it home. I broke down like anybody else with their normal state. I said, I just couldn't believe it. I still don't believe it to this day.
At only 35 years of age, Roger was gone. But what happened to him? How did he end up on that road? Was it an accident? The autopsy revealed some surprises. Taylor Bonner's a detective with the New Jersey State Police. He's investigating the murder case of Roger Eastwood.
They thought it was a hit and run when they found him on the road. So then when they transported him to the ME's office for the autopsy, the ME determined that the trauma that would be associated with a hit and run or getting hit by a vehicle, there was no trauma to the midsection. So that's when they kind of ruled that part out.
They discovered that the cause of death was 2 bullets to the head from a .32 caliber pistol. Roger had been murdered. The investigation began. Police canvassed motorists for information, and they searched for any sign of physical evidence. The location where Roger's body was found was not far from where they found his truck.
They did a canvass. It was on Main Street. There was a tissue found on Main Street that they collected. Yeah, they did a lot of canvass of the whole area. There was also a clump of hair that was found on this road as well. Things that we've looked into tested or have had tested and so far have been negative.
The investigation expanded to the scene where Roger's tractor-trailer was found abandoned at mile marker 43.7 on the northbound shoulder of I-295. But why was his rig parked there? Roger's wife, Nancy, remembers a possible problem with Roger's truck and some talk of transferring his load to another trailer.
Okay, I'm really mad about that too, because the dispatcher knew about it, and it was a Labor Day weekend of that year, and the drivers were going to transfer that load to another trailer, but he said no, go ahead and take it. If it's a short run, they'll put it in shop when they come back. What it was, the springs or something, the back tires, was something wrong with them or whatever, and that's why he got on that 295. The weight of the trailer went down on the back tires. So he had to pull off the road. He couldn't go anywhere.
Detective Taylor Bonner.
So basically two of his right tires went flat. They had blowouts. So that's why he pulled over there. It wasn't like anything where he was in stress or anything, because they said he set up the reflector triangles. So it's not like anything happened at that time to his truck or him.
So we have an explanation as to why Roger pulled over. But there's still more questions. The canvass by police turned up some witnesses who think they saw Roger.
Other people said that they saw him sitting in his truck as they drove by.
That sighting was just after 3 a.m.
And another passerby said they saw him walking northbound on 295. Then we had one of those people that saw him walking said there was a car about 400 feet north of the tractor trailer that had two men sitting in the car with the trunk open.
Did those men stop to help Roger or give him a ride? Or did they have something more sinister in mind? Again, here's Nancy.
Roger wouldn't have gotten in the car with just anybody unless he was forced, unless it was another truck driver. But I'm thinking wherever his body was at, which wasn't that far of a distance, and where the truck was, there was a confrontation in between there. I know he fought. I wished he won, but he didn't.
That witness account of Roger walking along the I-295 shoulder toward a vehicle that was parked ahead of his disabled truck occurred at 4:15 a.m.
When the caller in said she saw the car parked about 400 feet north of the tractor trailer on 295 with the trunk open, and there was two males in there.
Roger may have walked up to that car, but his wife didn't believe that Roger would have walked all the way to the next off-ramp to get help.
Well, it was dark. It was, even though the sky was clear, it was dark, and if he wanted to walk, he wouldn't know off the beaten path, how far he would have to go to get to a phone. I mean, the truck wasn't broke. All he had to do was just drop the trailer and go with the truck. Still think he was picked up.
Police would speak with another witness who made an observation on Beverly Rancocas Road where Roger's body was found. That witness told police what he saw shortly after 5 a.m.
Said he saw in this area of Beverly Rancocas Road, said he saw a small green pickup truck with two males standing outside of it on the side of the road looking down. There is not much other than that. If this was 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe they see something more, but at 5:15, they just see the two people, probably silhouettes for the most part, just kind of standing there looking down.
And the motive for Roger Eastwood's murder? Was it robbery?
After speaking with the victim's employer and reviewing company records, it was determined that the victim was carrying two company checks totaling $50.10 and 3 oil company credit cards issued to Package Poultry Incorporated. The oil companies were contacted and the appropriate traces were conducted with apparently negative results.
The load that Roger was carrying was undisturbed, but it appeared that Roger's wallet was missing, so maybe it was a robbery. Detectives needed to dig deeper. Who was Roger Eastwood? Nancy told me how they met in 1966.
I met him through friends of mine. We all went to school together, and he's from Louisiana, but he was up here working, and that's how we got together, and we've been together ever since.
Nancy said that Roger was tall and handsome.
6'1", thin built. He stayed in working 150, 160, long arm, long legs, long-waisted, dark hair, tattoo of his name on his right arm. I think it was his right arm, which he had that done before I met him.
Roger was a good husband to Nancy and a good father to their 7-year-old daughter. He was just a regular guy.
Yeah, he did a lot of fishing. That was his main thing he liked to do. Bowling and fishing. He would go fishing every chance he got. He'd bring a lot of things home, just so he cleaned them and gutted them out and cooked them. He was just fun to be around. He was just that kind of person, a good personality.
They were living in Federalsburg, Maryland, when Roger left for work that fateful night. His job as a trucker was making runs to pick up packaged poultry from processing plants.
Most of the time they were short. It was like back and forth. He did go to Boston a couple of times. His main run that he did all the time was like from Monday through Friday, was like from Richmond to someplace in Pennsylvania.
By all accounts, Roger was a happy man, a devoted husband and father with a steady job. He was living a good life until someone made the decision to take it all away. But why? Let's take another look at the timeline, starting with the night of Thursday, August 28, 1975. Roger left the house between 11:30 p.m. and 11:40 p.m. Then, just before 2 a.m. on Friday the 29th, Roger stopped for gas at the Union 76 truck stop on Route 13 in Delaware, right before he crossed the Delaware Memorial Bridge. Sometime after 2 a.m., Roger pulled his rig into the breakdown lane of I-295 North. Around 3 a.m., witnesses saw Roger sitting in his truck on the side of the interstate. 4:15 a.m., a motorist observed a man believed to be Roger walking along the shoulder of I-295 toward a car that was parked ahead of him. 5:10 a.m., a witness saw two males standing outside a small green pickup truck on the side of Beverly Reconquist Road looking down at the ground. That location just 2 miles from where Roger's rig was broken down. And then, 5 minutes later, 5:15 a.m., a motorist traveling west on Beverly Reconquist Road found Roger's body lying in the roadway. These witness accounts were promising, especially the one that Detective Taylor Bonner mentioned, describing a vehicle parked up ahead of Roger's truck.
One of those people that saw him walk in said there was a car about 400 feet north of the tractor trailer that had two men sitting in the car with the trunk open, but no other description of the vehicle.
Detective Bonner told me that if Roger got into the car with those men, the next off-ramp would have been Beverly Reconquist Road, where Roger's body was found within an hour of that witness's observation. And that witness account of the two men in a small green truck that was stopped on Beverly Reconquist Road around 5 a.m.?
So the vehicle appeared to be an older green pickup truck or a panel truck with some type of rack or bars on the roof. Is basically how he described it. And approximately about 150 feet behind that truck were the two males standing, and they were looking down towards the ground. He just observed that and kept driving until he realized everything that happened, and then he called it in. He said they were approximately 30 years of age at that time with longer hair around to the neck. They also mentioned the one male was wearing a lengthy, heavy coat, but he didn't kind of have any further description on the truck, just that it was a green pickup truck.
Could that be the same vehicle and men parked in front of Roger's truck on I-295, reported by the female witness?
But then you think about the car, like, okay, well then, was it a trunk that she saw? Because there's still two males again. So was it she was just driving on 295 and noticed maybe a latch down? Or the truck bed, thinking it was a trunk open? It's 3 o'clock in the morning on 295, 4 o'clock in the morning. So driving probably 50, 60 miles per hour. The odds of their recollection being 100%, like, oh, it was a car with a pickup truck and this is what they were doing.
So we have a pretty tight window between 4:15 a.m., the last time Roger Eastwood was seen alive, and 5 a.m., the time when something happened to Roger. Something that would end with him being shot in the head. During their investigation, police became aware of a similar shooting involving another truck driver.
I got a lot of questions, but no answers. But it seemed odd to me that another truck driver was killed like 2 weeks before with the same gun.
In the next episode of APB Cold Case,
one firearm, two truckers murdered in similar fashion. In 1975, detectives faced a chilling reality. These cases were connected.
Were these people targeting truck drivers, or were they just happen to be in the same area?
That's in part 2 of the 1975 trucker murders. You can find a map, timeline, and photos at apbcoldcase.com. If you have any information about the murder of Roger Eastwood on August 29, 1975, on Beverly Raconcus Road in West Hampton Township, New Jersey, contact the tip line at 1-833-NJ-COLD. That's 1-833-465-2653, or email coldcase@njsp.gov.
thanks for listening to APB Cold Case. Tell us about your cold case at apbcoldcase@spawngroup.com. APB Cold Case is an original Spawn Group production.